What is up, everybody? This weekend we got UFC Fight Night Cannonier versus Rodrigues. It's in the Apex in 2025, still in the Apex, but I just thought I'd make a prediction video. It's a pretty okay card, and I've been getting the urge to make some YouTube videos again. So let's start. Um, this first fight, Julia Alvia versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I don't really have much to say about this fight. I'm going with Cavalcanti by decision because I like her movement in the fight. I think she's got good footwork and she's got really good straight punches. So I'm going with her for this fight. And Julia Avila is just not that good. So that one, let's make that one quick. On to the next one. Walter Walker, the clean monster. Clean. Very clean. Versus Dontel Mays. I'm gonna go with Walter Walker by submission in round one. Um, in his first fight in the UFC against Lucas Bursky, he looked terrible, but he came back against I think it was Junior Tafa. I can't remember if it was Junior or Justin. I think it was the tall one that's not fat, so that would be Junior. Junior Tafa, he submitted him in, I think it was round one with a heel hook. I could see a heel hook working against Dontel Mays. He lost to Cyril Gane with a leg lock, so that's not a good look because Cyril Gane is like he's not a fantastic grappler. I mean, I guess compared to the top level heavyweights, Cyril Gane, he's all right, but as a grappler. But I just don't think Dontel Mays is that good. He's not that good on the feet. Neither is Walter Walker, but I think he's a little bit more powerful, and I think he'll be able to find takedowns. I think he's a decent wrestler for heavyweight. He's pretty strong, and if I haven't made it clear already, I think he's on steroids. But yeah, I'm gonna go on with Walter Walker by this submission in round one, maybe a heel hook. Next one, Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. So this one, it's a close fight. I was tempted to go with Vince Morales since he is a underdog, but he doesn't really do anything particularly well. He's just a well-rounded fighter. There's nothing that he does that really stands out, but he's just like pretty good at everything. So um I'm gonna be going with Elijah Smith because he's very young. He's explosive. He's a great athlete. Um, he's got good wrestling. He's got good scrambles, and his boxing is getting better. I like his jab. I like his 1-2. Um, sometimes when he's throwing strikes, he'll kind of lean forward. Like normally when you're throwing punches, you're throwing like this. You're not leaning forward and like falling over your front foot. But sometimes he does that when he's throwing his punches. So I could see Vince Morales landing some nasty leg kicks on him, countering that. But I just think Elijah Smith is going to be more explosive. I think he's going to be landing the bigger shots throughout the fight. And I don't think Vince Morales is going to be able to submit him. I know Vince Morales, he's got a pretty good Darce choke and Anaconda choke. I don't see that happening. And Elijah Smith, if he gets on bottom position, he doesn't just accept it. He's very active, and he will be trying to get back up. And with a young guy like this, he's 22 years old. He's gonna be improving drastically in between fights. And he's tough. He's got a chin. You can see in his last fight against Aaron Tao, that weird fucker with the face tattoos. Um, he's got a chin, man. He's tough. He's durable. He will bite down on the mouthpiece and swing, which sometimes not always a good thing, but I think he's going to be making drastic improvements fight to fight, and yeah, I think he's just going to be a little bit better this fight, a little bit stronger. So on to the next one, Gabriel Bonfim versus Chaos Williams. Now this is a great fight. You can see here, Gabriel Bonfim, he's a pretty big favorite. And I get it. He's got good boxing. He's got amazing jiu-jitsu, but I think he gets a little bit too wild and scrappy, and I think he will like just accept a brawl sometimes, especially before he lost to Nicholas Dalby, every fight he would come out like a bat out of hell and start swinging and jumping guillotines and shit. But against Angelusa, he kind of toned it down a little bit. Um, he got taken down a couple times in that fight. I don't think Chaos Williams is going to be shooting takedowns. He's not really a wrestler. But Gabriel Monfils in that fight, his boxing looked good, but at the same time, it didn't. Like he'd be throwing these long combos and then just stay in the pocket. And I think Chaos Williams, he's not the most technical fighter, but he's got a reach advantage in this fight. He hits crazy fucking hard. He's got insane power. And in his last fight, he looked a little bit technically like improved. He wasn't getting, as wild, swinging these big looping punches. Um, his footwork looked a little bit better, and he's got a good calf kick. And I really hope that he starts using his jab more because he's got these long fucking arms and so much power. If he can start landing a good, consistent jab on people, he can start finding his other punches from that. But yeah, I'm going with Chaos Williams. I think they'll be in an exchange in the pocket. Bonfim will stay in the pocket a little bit too long, and I think Chaos Williams is going to catch him with the right hand and drop him, follow up with some ground and pound, and get a TKO. So this is one of my underdog picks for the card. It might be a little bit of a long shot because I do think Bonfim is like a more technical fighter, but I got a feeling Chaos Williams is going to get it. I'm seeing some things from Bonfim that I don't like. I think if it goes to the ground, Bonfim is definitely better, but I don't think it'll get there. Haven't really seen anybody try and grapple Chaos Williams in a while in the UFC, so I don't know where he's at, but I don't think he'll get submitted instantly. So, yeah, I'm going with him by TKO, round 1. I think he's going to land a nasty right hand, drop Bonfim, follow up with the ground and pound, and the ref will step in. But if you're a betting man, don't touch this fight. Don't do it because anything could happen with these guys. So don't mess with this fight. But on to the next one. Rafael Esteban versus Jesus Aguilar. This is a pretty easy one. I don't know why it says decision on here. I'm going with a submission in round 1. Esteban, he made his debut against Charles Johnson. Now, he missed weight by, I think, 3 pounds, 2 or 3 pounds. But still, he ragdolled Charles Johnson for the first 2 rounds, which, to me, that's very impressive. Not a lot of people would be able to do that to Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson is a really good fighter. So, that was very impressive to me. This guy, Esteban, he's got good trips, good judo. He's got good takedowns. He gets to your hips very quick. He's explosive for the first 2 rounds. He gassed out in round 3, and Johnson was beating him up. But, I mean, Charles Johnson, as I said, really good. So, Jesus Aguilar, he's good. He's a good fighter, but you can see here, he's 5'4", and he has a 62-inch reach. 62 inches. Now, I'm pretty sure Zhang Wei Li might have a longer reach than that, dude. 62 inches is like actual T-Rex arms. So, I think Esteban is going to get a takedown really quick. Probably tie up, get in the clinch, land some knees, and then get a takedown. And then, before you know it, he's going to be on Jesus Aguilar's back, and I think he's going to sink in a rear naked choke. Esteban is really good, man. I think he's probably going to be a top 10 flyweight fighter pretty soon. I will say, if he fights somebody who he can't take down, he's going to get fucked up because he has no striking. But I don't think Jesus Aguilar is that guy, and Charles Johnson wasn't that guy. And Charles Johnson's really fucking good. So, going with Rafael Esteban. But on to the next one. Jared Gordon versus Mashrabjan Ruziboyev. This is Nursultan Ruziboyev's brother, I think. He's got a pretty impressive record, like on the surface level, but if you look at some of these opponents, 8-9, 12-17, 16-14, 2-0, like not impressive people to be beating. These are like taxi drivers. So I'm gonna be going with Jared Gordon by decision. Jared Gordon is pretty good, man. He's got nice boxing on the inside. Um, you know, well, Ruziboyev is a little bit taller than him. It doesn't have his reach here, but I can't pick Ruziboyev because I don't know anything about him. I watched a couple of his fights. They're not on Fight Pass. I couldn't find them on Fight Pass, so I found two fights on YouTube. He didn't look particularly good. He was getting hit a lot, so I got to go with Jared Gordon because I think this is like a massive step up for Ruziboyev. So I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon by decision. I think he's gonna beat Ruziboyev up. I think it'll be pretty easy. He's gonna be landing good shots in the pocket. So that's what I'm gonna be going with for that one. Um, this fight, Angela Hill versus Ketlin Souza. A lot of people probably gonna be picking Ketlin Souza, yeah, because she's an underdog, and I get it. She's been getting some finishes. Well, she got one finish in her last 5 fights, but it was against Yasmin Jauregui, who people think is good, but I really don't think she's that good. Um, I'm just gonna be going with Angela Hill by decision. I feel like that's a pretty easy pick to toss out these days. Angela Hill by decision because she's just very active, she's well rounded, and she's been fighting some of the best fighters in her division for a very long time. So I'm going to be going with her by decision. I don't have a lot to say about this one. I think it's a pretty easy pick. But on to the next one. Jose Delgado versus Connor Matthews. Now this one I am really fucking excited for. If you guys haven't seen Jose Delgado's fight on the Contender Series, you need to go watch him. This guy, he's very good. His defense is a little bit spotty, but he's tough. He's got a good fucking chin, and he is very well rounded. He likes to back people up to the fence. He'll land like 5 punch combinations and then get a tie clinch, land like 3 knees, then shoot a takedown. Then all of a sudden he's in mount, and then you're back up and he's just beating you up, throwing combos, landing knees. This guy is fucking nasty. And Connor Matthews, before he got in the UFC, I thought he was pretty good. But then he lost to Dennis Bazookia, who, I like Dennis Bazookia on Aljamain Sterling's podcast, but I'm keeping it real. Dennis Bazookia is not that good, so that's a pretty bad loss to have, especially getting finished by him. So I think this should be a pretty easy fight for Jose Delgado. I think he's probably my lock of the card. If you're a betting man, he is my lock of the card. I think he's going to knock Connor Matthews out within 2 rounds. Knee up the middle, landing crazy combinations. I think he's good. This guy he has it all. Very good fighter. So keep your eye out on him. But on to the next one. Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski. So before I watched tape, I was going with Rodolfo Vieira, as you can see here. But I'm changing my mind. I'm going with Andre Petroski by decision because Rodolfo Vieira, he just fucking sucks at striking, man. He's fucking terrible. All he has is a jab. That's it. Which is good to have a jab. It's good, but you gotta have something else to land after it. Somehow in his fight against Chris Curtis, he was tagging Chris Curtis up at some points, but it's Chris Curtis. Like, sometimes he'll be like a top 5 level fighter, he boxing people's heads off, and then sometimes he's having a close fucking striking match with Rodolfo Vieira. So I think Andre Petroski, compared to like the elite level middleweights, I don't think he's that good, but he's got wrestling, he's got some good hands, he's got a nice body kick. I think he's really going to be landing those body kicks in a opposite stance matchup. That's one of his best strikes, is a body kick. And I think he's just gonna land the more powerful shots on the feet. Rodolfo Vieira almost got fucking smoked by Cody Brundage, but Cody Brundage fumbled a finish because he's Cody Brundage. So I'm gonna be going with Andre Petroski. I just think he's a little bit better with the hands, got more power. more strikes that he can throw, and I don't think he's gonna get submitted. Like, I really don't think that'll happen. Um, as long as he doesn't grapple, I don't think he should grapple because I think um, he should be able to defend takedowns from the jiu-jitsu guy. Like Rodolfo Vieira, he's got very fast and explosive takedowns. He is good at them, but Andre Petroski is also a really good wrestler. So I don't think he's going to get taken down in this fight. And on the feet, I think he's just going to be landing bigger shots and win a decision. So on to the next one. Oh, yeah, he's an underdog too. Pretty good underdog. I would trust him to win this fight pretty confidently. On to the next one. Ismail Bonfim versus Nazim Sadikov. This is also a really good fight. Um, in this one, I'm going to be going with Nazim Sadikov by decision because Ismail Bonfim, he knocked Terrence McKinney the fuck out. After that fight, his hype was crazy. Understandably, because a flying knee like that is going to get you a lot of fans. And then he lost to Benoit Saint Denis. You know, he just fucking couldn't defend body kicks. And he got submitted in that fight. And then against Vince Piquel, he took him to a decision. He looked okay in that fight, but I feel like you should be looking more than okay against a 42-year-old Vince Piquel. So I liked how Nazim Sadikov has looked in all of his UFC fights. He had a draw with Vyacheslav Borshev, but I think Borshev is really good. I know he just lost to Tom Nolan, he lost to Chase Hooper, but he's still a really good fighter. Borshev is landing a lot of shots on the feet on Sadikov, but Sadikov is very durable. He's got good defense. He's got a nice high guard. So I don't think Bonfim is going to hurt him on the feet. And I think Sadikov is just going to be outboxing Bonfim. I think his boxing is a little bit better. I think he's going to be landing body kicks all fucking day. All day. His body kick is nice. And when he starts landing body kicks, take it up high. So I think Sadikov is a little bit better. He's training with Ray Longo. That's a good gym. Good training partners to have. This guy's grappling with Aljo. I don't think he's going to get submitted by Bonfim. So this is another underdog that I'm picking. I'd be pretty confident betting on Sadikov. I think he's good. I really do think he's good, man. But on to the next one. Edmund Shabazian versus Dylan Budka. I don't have a lot to say about this. Dylan Budka fucking sucks. His wrestling credentials are a lie. They didn't happen. This guy didn't wrestle. I don't believe it. So yeah, Shabazian, not that good, but I think he should be able to finish Budka, who is literally like a fucking punching bag. And also, this guy has bad weight cuts every time he fights. So I'm gonna trust in Shabazian this time. He's a pretty big favorite, so I agree with those odds. I'd be going with Shabazian, but if you're a betting man, don't fucking touch this fight because it's Edmund Shabazian. So who knows? He's not very consistent. But on to the next one. Calvin Kattar and Yusuf Zalal. Now this is a good fucking fight. This is a proper fucking fight, in my opinion. I like it. I gotta go with Yusuf Zalal. He's on a tear. He's got everything. He's got good boxing. He's got good kicks. His footwork is very good. It's very hard to back this guy up to the fence. He's always cutting angles. He's moving, circling. He's very fast. He's got amazing knees. He's got a good calf kick. I think his striking is much more versatile than Calvin Kattar, who's mainly a boxer. But I will say, Calvin Kattar, he's got a chance. I don't think these odds are right. There's two ways I think he can win this fight. I think Yusuf Zalal, his hands are low almost all the time, and he does a lot of leaning back from strikes. His chin will be up in the air, and his hands will be like down here. So I think that is a way that Calvin Kattar could win this fight, throwing a right hand and catching Yusuf Zalal at the end of it. And I think he could land some shots if he gets Yusuf Zalal against the cage, which is going to be easier said than done. And that's why I'm picking Yusuf Zalal. I just think he's really fucking good, man. He's on a tear right now. I don't think he's gonna be able to do what Aljo was able to do in the grappling against Calvin Kattar. I don't think he's that dominant of a grappler. He's very good at grappling, and if he does get Kattar down, he probably will get his back. But I think Kattar will be good enough to survive. So that is what I think about this fight. I'm going with Yusuf Zalal, but too big of a favorite to bet on him. I would not bet on him. Way too big of a favorite, in my opinion, because there are definitely some ways that Calvin Kattar could win this fight. But I'm a big fan of Yusuf Zalal, man. I hope he gets to the top 5 this year. I think there's a lot of guys that he beats in that top 10 area. So, good fight. On to the main event. Jared, the Killer Gorilla Cannonier versus Gregory Robocop Rodrigues. They're really feeding Cannonier to the wolves. I would have liked to see him fight maybe Paulo Costa, but hey, you've been in the UFC for years, been giving us good fights. What do you get? Um, you get to fight RoboCop. So it is what it is. I am going with Cannonier though, ironically, even though I'm saying all that. I think he's gonna win because Gregory Rodrigues, he is massive. He's got a lot of power in his hands. His boxing is getting better. But I don't like his head movement. He doesn't really move his head a lot. And I think he's there to be hit. His chin is not the best. I've seen him get knocked out several times. And I know Cannonier, he doesn't have a great chin either. We've seen him get rocked and knocked out a lot in the UFC. But I think his striking is better than people will give him credit for, man. I really do. I think early on in the fight, RoboCop is just gonna be there to be hit, and I think Cannonier is gonna land a big right hand and just knock him out. That's what I think is gonna happen. It might be a silly pick. We'll see. It could be silly, or I could look like a genius. But I think Cannonier is still good. I think he's still got it. He's fast. He's got fast hands. RoboCop, he's got good wrestling and amazing jiu-jitsu. Maybe he could take Cannonier down. The clinch is going to be dangerous for Cannonier, very dangerous. But I don't think RoboCop will be able to take him down, and I just got a feeling Cannonier is going to land a big shot on the inside, and chin Gregory Rodrigues, because Cannonier and his in this run he's been having, like he lost to Izzy. Sean Strickland got a solid fucking chin. People don't talk about it, but Strickland has a really good chin. Pereira knocked him out, and I feel like people assume he's chinny, but he's not. Strickland's got a tough chin because he sees almost every punch coming that you throw at him. There's a difference between seeing a punch coming and not seeing it coming. Like, you can eat the same punch if you see it coming, and if you don't see it, you might get knocked out or dropped. Strickland, very hard to hurt. Marvin Vettori, he's got like the best chin in the fucking UFC. Nasruddin, he's got a granite chin. He's tough. I've never really seen him hurt before. And Cannonier was landing some bombs on him. And Kaio, he's also really good. He's elusive. He's got a tough chin. All these guys, they've got good defense and good chins. And I don't think RoboCop has either. I think his physicality kind of carries him through fights, his power, his grappling, but I don't think he's going to be able to implement that stuff in such a big jump up in competition. But if he does, it'd be very exciting. If he wins this fight, it's definitely by knockout, and I think he could, honestly, I could see him dropping Cannonier with the jab. Cannonier, those are the kind of punches that are going to drop him. Like, you're probably not going to land some big hook on Cannonier and drop him. What really hurts him is the straight punches down the middle that are quick and that he doesn't see. And Cannonier does switch stances a lot, and I think that hurts him sometimes because in Southpaw, I don't think his defense is as good. But I think he'll win. If RoboCop wins, I think it's with a right hand down the middle. cracks Cannonier and knocks him out, but I don't see that happening. So I got to go with the underdog, Cannonier. Been picking a lot of underdogs this card. So yeah, we'll see. I hope I get good picks. I watched a lot of tape. I watched at least 2 fights for every fighter on this card, and that's a lot of fights. So yeah, I did put in some research, but it's MMA. Who knows? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're betting, good luck and goodbye.